Naraka Blade Point. My favorite battle royale, notorious for its immaculate skins. You look at all these skins, and you tell me Naraka now here killing the fashion game. And as your local fashion homie, I'ma help you break down the fits and see who they wearing. Yes, me. I'm your local fashion homie. Why? Cause I'm a legit fashion designer trying to make it in a slow industry after going to school for 5 years. I got me a bachelor's in fashion design and technology, a crippling gaming addiction, an ego, and way too much time on my hands. So let's talk Naraka fashion. So how we gonna get this done? One fit with 5 categories per fit. Outer layer, top, gloves, pants, and footwear. A score out of 10 will be given for each part of the fit with an overall letter grade for the whole thing. So we're gonna start this off with my latest homie Hadi, aka Icarus Jr. First off, we got these magical shimmery circles on the center pack. If I was gonna make that, I was gonna say it was probably reflective 3M tape, kind of like the Arc'teryx logo, how they got that shit reflecting. It's nice, you know, it sticks on, heat press, all well and good. Obviously, it's not gonna shimmer the same way without, you know, a little bit of magic. The effect will probably still kind of be around the same if you use negative space instead of just like, you know, putting full circles onto the cape. Moving on, we got the back yoke piece. I want to say it's either a wool base, kind of a canvas, kind of like bespoke suiting is reinforced, because it does look like it's very structured. To get that structured sense, you need something holding it together, and if it's not interfacing, I'm gonna guess canvassing. Either that, or it's a leather that is also reinforced. Me personally, I don't think you can get this type of shape without reinforcing it with some sort of interfacing. Zoom in a little bit, we got some these blue kind of rough patch pieces. Those kind of look like fleece, so this looks like fleece panels that were first cut out and then top stitched onto the leather base. For the center back, this raised piece on the back yoke, I'm saying that I feel like these would probably be embroidered, either handmade or machine made, but because the patterns are really intricate and you got 2 types, you have the stripes that line everything on the outer back yoke piece, and then you have these like cross flower petal patterns on the center back part, and then of course we also got the high collar back here. Kind of looks like the old Michael Keaton bat suit collars back here. I feel like that would be kind of uncomfortable for neck movement though, so I don't know how functional this is, but it's there. And because it's tan like the rest of the, like you can kind of see it underneath the blue, there's a bit of tan. It's the same tan as the high collar, so that kind of tells me that it's leather, because the high collar really looks like leather, but it could be either or. This bottom blue piece on the back yoke piece, I mess with the whole pleated cape concept. I like this. I don't like that it's a half pleat, like it kind of goes up to these brooches and stops halfway. I wish the pleats were completely folded all the way up to the top of to the bottom of the back yoke piece and then top stitch underneath. I feel like that would have made the cape look a bit cleaner and a bit more organized, but I like this. My main concern with the pleating is because like the top, you can see that it's kind of folded, it's just not structured. And then of course we gotta talk about what homie spent his family savings on, this gold ornament right here. I'm not a jeweler, so I'm just gonna straight up say it's that 24 karat magic in the air. I can't sing the entire thing. I'm gonna get copyrighted, I swear to God. Going back to the pleats on the cape, I actually mess with these little brooches that he got, like clipping it. That'd be kind of sick if I could get that shit on like pants, where I could just like pleat it and then like pin it through and then maybe like, I don't know, hold it together, who knows. We definitely got to talk about homie's translucent hem right here. I'm gonna need to know where he got his fabric from. I'm gonna need a fabric plug, alright? I'm gonna need that shit. I wanted to say that thing was silk, but to be honest, it could also be rayon, could be polyester, anything that could go translucent. I don't necessarily know if that's an exclusive rayon and silk thing. I've seen a bunch of polyester things that are like sheer, you know? Me personally, I think the translucent hem is either like stitched on to the rest of the cape, or it is a whole like inner lining layer that is exposed at just the hem. Me personally, if I was gonna remake this thing, it would definitely just be a panel piece. I do not want to have to go through the trouble of like figuring out the measurements of making it a lining and an exposed raw edge. I don't necessarily know what those gold swirls on the translucent hem could be. I mean, hell, it could be plastic for all, like, you know, for all American capitalism cares. But if we were going for quality, I would say that, I don't know, maybe it's like an embroidered silk that's stitched through the translucent hem itself. We could say the same thing about the gold trim on the seam between the translucent hem and the rest of the cape. Me personally, I think it's just another gold heat press that would make it a lot easier. And same thing goes for those golden fires that are swirling. Overall, dog, I'm giving the cape a 7. You know, I like the concept. There are just a couple of things that I don't like like how the pleats stay in the middle. But there are other pros that bring it up, like the golden magic shimmeries in a pattern on the back, and also the translucent hem. It's a translucent hem, dog. You gotta mess with the translucent hem. That upper chest to shoulder piece looks like it's the same type of reinforcement as the back, so either a canvassing or an interfacing, something along those lines. Same embroidery techniques used as well, and by the looks of it, the same fleece pattern that's on the back yoke as well. No need to go into detail about that. However, I will give props where props is due. This little, like, I don't like, it looks like clouds, like the old, like, to be honest, to me, it kind of looks like the old, like, Dragon Ball Z clouds, where when Goku's riding on, or is it Goku? I don't even know. I don't watch Dragon Ball Z like that. But when Kakarot or Goku is riding on that shit, and it leaves the trails, it looks like, because this part is lighter, dog, that's some heat. You got some low-key anime drip. I like that. All right. The rest of the vest definitely looks like leather now that I'm looking at it from the front, especially all these like segmented panels. So here's the thing, right? The top is either a segmented top sewn together using different pieces, or it's a one pattern top using binding to create design lines. And to be honest, the second option is so much more of a chore that I would have hoped that the digital sweatshop that they made this in, it's the former, dog. It's just a segmented top with different pattern pieces that are then stitched together, and then the raw edges are bound so that it looks cooler, I guess. So the center front placket, I guess I should explain what a placket is. Basically, what a placket is a sewn edge to reinforce the opening of a garment. You know, it's that shit that you got the buttons on. What can I say? Alright, the center front closure looks like it could be snaps, but the top jewelry piece on where the top snap should be doesn't agree. That top jewelry piece, it could just be decoration, or it could mean that the center front closure is actually closed by a string system, which is much like that like plastic paper organizer that you had as a kid in high school. And looking on the inside, it looks like the facing is lined, but the central body is just the outside self fabric, which is fine. Personally, I like the top. Like, obviously it frames him really well, it shows off his shoulders, his biceps, all that. It's also open to show off the black hole that's sitting on top of his chest. I like it. It gives me like Gojo Hollow Purple vibes. I like it. I'm gonna say like 6 out of 10. I like it, but there's nothing that really pops out to me and says that this is an amazing top, you know? It's cool. It's nice. Gets the job done. Now, I'm not an electrician or an engineer, so I'm gonna give the arm a good try. First off, we're gonna have to talk about how homie uses nat 20s as a power source. Just has a D20 slotted in his elbow, and I'm guessing that's what powered the entire prosthetic. In terms of aesthetic factor, I don't know what to tell you. The thing looks awesome. Like, it's white, it's gold. I see the little bit of the accent blues that goes through like the line work on the arm, kind of like power surging through it. It's awesome. It's cool. My only gripe with it is those blue diamonds on his bicep, like ringed around his bicep. I like that the segmentation is done right at the shoulder and bicep. It is aesthetically pleasing to me. However, I feel like those would have looked a lot better if they were gold. I'm just saying. I like how the blue is on the arm because it's little pieces and accents, right? It's just to showcase the power surging through it. But the diamonds are too big. They're just too big to be accent pieces. Just make them gold. Make them gold. It would make the arm so much more consistent in terms of color palette. Also, I love this, like, I don't know if it's being held on by anything. I like to think that this ring right here is just floating because of like the gravitational pull or whatever of the D20. Just held together by an aura of luck stats. It's cool. I'm giving the arm a solid 8. It gives off superior Iron Man vibes and X Lies of P. I like that. It's nice. Only downside is that I wish the blue diamonds on the bicep were gold to match the rest of the color palette. Me personally, it just draws too much attention. The blue is really nice on the back of the hand. Let me show y'all that here. The blue is really nice on the back of the hand and throughout the entire arm, mostly because it takes up it takes up little space, but it still makes its presence known, and it lets the gold take center stage. So let's start with the belt. I'm not sure if it holds any cultural significance, but to me, it almost looks like a decorated cummerbund, which does pair well with the pants, considering that they look like trousers just stuffed in the boots. Me personally, I'm a sucker for all that pirate aesthetic, you know? Big trousers, high boots, very loud and prominent belts. So I'll fuck with this fit. Even though I would like the green in the belt, to probably change to more of like a gunmetal or a purple to match the boots. I think the green just stands out a little bit too much. It's not in anywhere else on the fit. It's just in the belt. So it doesn't really correspond anywhere else. I just think purple or gunmetal would have matched the color palette of gold and blues a little better. But that's just me. I also mess with this like Louis Vuitton-esque pattern that's been printed onto the wool of the pants. And I'm hoping you can see this, but there's like an awesome little detail. You know what? I'm gonna zoom in as much as possible for this one. But there's like a little detail on the gold patterns on the out seams of the trouser pants. If you look closely, you can actually see that there's a stitched raw edge on the blue panels that are missing to make way for the gold, which might be telling us that the gold is actually another layer underneath this outside self fabric and the lining of the pants. Now, if you ain't in the know, let me help you out a little bit. Trousers are usually sewn with 2 layers. The self fabric of the outside, which is what everyone else sees, and the lining which lines the thighs and sometimes the calves on the inside of the pants. This lining feels better against the skin, which makes the experience of wearing the pants much more pleasant for the wearer. Because the gold patterns has this subtle stitching around them, it's as if the person making the pants cut out the patterns on the outer layer and then reinforced the raw edges so that they wouldn't fray once the pants were constructed. It's a little detail. Overall, I'm gonna give the pants about a solid 8. I mess with the patterns on the pants. I like the silhouette. I like the pleats. I also like the little subtle detail they had around the gold on the pants. It's a good ranking. And last but not least, we got these high-ass boots that my boys got on. Looks like a corset lacing system on the side of the boot. That's pretty cool. I've never actually seen that anywhere. I would love to have a pair of boots like that, to be honest. High boots, stopping just below the knee. Multi-paneled with what looks like an alligator skin texture on the inseam panel. The boots are definitely made from either a leather or a faux leather. And then we got that bright blue leather patterning on the center front. Purely decorative. Now, even though I mess with the corset lacing system, I'm gonna give the boots about a 7. It doesn't necessarily stand out to me. The only standout accent piece on the boots is that little blue pattern on the front. It's cool, but it doesn't really do anything for like the anatomy of the leg or the boots themselves. Hell, they could have made the pattern on the front green so that it would match the belt, but instead they went with blue, which is an interesting choice to me, but you know, it still looks good nonetheless. Overall, it's a 7 out of 10. I'm giving it a B+. I like the cape. I like the pleats on it. I like the back yoke piece. I like the fabric blending. I like the translucent hem. I like the pants. I like the pleats. I don't like the belt. I don't like the green. I don't like the color. It doesn't mesh well with the lower half. I like the black hole. It reminds me of hollow purple. I like the arm, but I don't like the blue diamonds. I wish they were gold. I feel like I would have tied the entire thing together. I like the boots, but I don't like this blue accent piece. I like the corset closing though. It's good. It's not great. It's a B+.